It's official, folks! Carlos Alcaraz is the year-end world number 1 at 19 years old, and he's making history as we speak. His end of the season wasn't the most ideal, but his stars aligned at the right time. After an incredible year, he's sitting on the very top. In today's video, we're talking about how the Spaniard stole Lleyton Hewitt's record. So without further ado, let's get into it. First up, Alcaraz takes Hewitt's world number 1 record. Has anyone had a better start to their career than Carlitos? We highly doubt it. We've been hearing whispers for a couple of years now that he was the next big thing in tennis.
It's a dream for me, and it come true as a kid. I was dreaming too.
But no one could have predicted what he's done in such little time. It was concerning that he wasn't playing at the ATP Finals in Turin after some fitness issues, but it turns out he didn't even need to. After Rafael Nadal got knocked out of the tournament, it was official that Carlos would remain on top of the rankings for the rest of the season. With that feat, the 19-year-old also overtook Lleyton Hewitt as the youngest year-end number 1 in the history of the ATP Tour. We've known that this kid was special, folks, and now he's proven it to the whole world. Next up, a dream season for Alcaraz. It's hard to believe that Carlos started this year ranked number 32 in the world, but very early into his season, we could see it was going to be a memorable one. He broke into the top 10 very soon after an incredible title run at the Miami Open in April. After that, he had a stellar clay court season that included titles in Barcelona and Madrid.
Things like that. Get out of here.
Where he beat Nadal and Novak Djokovic in successive matches to make the final. He became the only person to beat Rafa and Noel in the same clay court tournament. Coming into the US Open, he was ranked number 4 in the world, and we're pretty sure he was feeling pretty good about his chances in New York. Still, it wasn't an easy ride. With loads of 5-setter matches that ended well after midnight, Carlitos left the Flushing Meadow with the championship and the number 1 ranking. Oh, and he did it all as a teenager. Following this, Alcaraz after the US Open. Few people can say they won a Grand Slam at 19 years old, but no one else apart from Carlos can say they did that and became the top-ranked player in the world on the same night.
Casper Ruud can
Folks, this kid is reaching unprecedented heights. After his phenomenal run in New York that left the world stunned, the Spaniard became the youngest world number 1 since the rankings began, and he became the youngest US Open champ since the great Pete Sampras 32 years ago. So if it wasn't clear to anyone before, Carlitos is here to take over. Moving on. This wouldn't have happened without Nadal and Stefanos Tsitsipas. Alcaraz got very unlucky when he got injured right before the ATP Finals.
Well, it has been a tough match, but in the second set, I felt something wrong on the abdominal, and
then his fate on the rankings depended on Rafa, Steph, and Math.
What an extraordinary year it has been for Alcaraz. Feel like the montage didn't quite do it justice. It's been that sensational.
Both had to lose a certain amount of matches for Carlos to finish on the very top. But as we mentioned earlier, his stars aligned when he needed it the most. Had Tsitsipas won every match of the tournament, including the final, he would have become the first person to become number 1 without a Grand Slam.
German, but Tsitsipas, who was broken in his previous game, gets back on track.
But that dream ended pretty quickly as he lost to Novak Djokovic in his first match of the event. Then it was between the two Spaniards, Nadal and Alcaraz. Rafa also had an extraordinary season with 2 Grand Slam titles, but he couldn't do what was needed at the ATP Finals. He lost his first 2 matches and crashed out of the tournament, leaving Carlos at the top. Coming up, Alcaraz wanted to be in the top 15 at the end of the year. Perhaps Carlitos is the most shocked with his success this season. At the end of last year, he shared that he was going to aim high and break into the top 15 in 2022. But little did he know, he said he might even try to qualify for the ATP Finals, but admitted that it was a difficult goal. He stated that 2021 was a breakthrough year for him, and he wanted to keep getting better, an expectation he lived up to and exceeded. Carlos was number 1 in the race to Turin, and he ended up the year on top. So it must be super exciting and kind of surprising for him, as it is for the rest of us. Lastly, Alcaraz wants to improve further. It's very easy to get caught up in your success, but not Carlitos. After his first Grand Slam title, the 19-year-old commented that he wanted to improve his game even more.
I have some tests and how it's gonna be before Turin, and
so he can stay on top for a long time. He stated that it was a dream that came too early, but it didn't mean he couldn't get better. He revealed that he trained every day to get better mentally, physically, and technically. The Spaniard shared that his goal was to win more and more big titles and play better tennis. He said that the sport was still the same after his monumental feats, week after week, tournament after tournament. He felt like the same kid with the same goals. Carlos added that he didn't want to think too much about it. He just loved playing tennis and he wanted to enjoy the sport. With this kind of mindset, the kid's about to change tennis, folks. Now let's see what Carlos had to say about ending the year as the world's #1. First up, Alcaraz calls it an amazing feeling. As expected, the Spaniard received a grand reception at the ATP Tour in Turin, where he was handed the ATP #1 trophy.
Il est avec nous, le nouveau #1 mondial du tennis masculin, l'Espagnol Carlos Alcaraz.
He was visibly delighted to receive his award, and he said that it meant a lot to him. Carlitos shared that it was an amazing feeling to get the trophy and the #1 ranking, which made him part of tennis history along with other legends of the game. He said it was incredible, and it showed him that his hard work paid off. Well, he fully deserves it. No one had a better season than him on the tour. Up next, Alcaraz gives an update on his injury. Carlos admitted that he was a little disappointed to be missing the ATP Finals, as he really wanted to play in Turin, but injuries were part of the sport.
I feel the abdominal in so many movements, yeah, it was.
He shared that he was feeling much better, and his recovery was going well, and he was determined to get back on the court as soon as possible. He promised that he was going to be ready at the beginning of the season, and he was going to give it his 100%. Well, that's what we like to hear. We can't wait for his return. Moving on, Djokovic on Alcaraz. We all know Noel is one of the best guys on tour. Not only is he an absolute champ on the court, but he's also the kindest off of it. Especially when it comes to the younger players. Ahead of the ATP Finals, the Serb called Carlos the best player in the world, and he said that the 19-year-old was fully deserving of the spot. As you may know, many fans have been pointing out that Novak's season was full of unprecedented surprises, like not being allowed to enter Australia for the first slam of the year, where he was defending champion, and not getting ranking points at Wimbledon. Now, if those things hadn't happened, it's very likely we'd be seeing the 21-time major champ end another year as the world #1. But he isn't too fussed about it. He shared that Alcaraz fully deserved it. The ranking showed it. He said that there was nothing more to add to it, and he wanted to congratulate the Spaniard for all the success he had. Last but not least, fans react to Alcaraz in Turin. We are devastated that we didn't get to see him play at the ATP Finals, but it was a wonderful sight to see him receive his year-end award at the tournament.
Brilliant.
People took to social media to express their delight at this monumental feat. One fan shared that they stayed up all night to see Carlitos get his trophy, and it was worth it. Another stated that no one in men's tennis deserved it more than Alcaraz, and they should just leave the award with him now, as he's going to keep winning it for years and years now. Honestly, we don't doubt that either if he continues playing like he has. Earlier this year, even Dominic Thiem mentioned that the Spaniard was changing tennis and the other players needed to catch up with him if they wanted to beat him. One fan tweeted that they'd been following Carlos's journey for a couple of years now, and they couldn't be happier to see him lift that trophy in Turin. So all things considered, we're in the Alcaraz era, and he's here to stay, folks. And that's a wrap for this video. How many Grand Slams will Carlos Alcaraz win in 2023? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.